Thank you for allowing me to speak to you a little bit today about our new course proposal, Event Risk Management, THM 4160. So what I'm going to go over today is I'm going to talk a little bit about how we designed this course, and then I'm going to talk about the reservations the business college has and how our course is different than what their current offerings are and why it's important that we call this course Event Risk Management. So the first thing that we did in creating the course is that we really reviewed all the curriculums from internationally from event specializations. So events as a field is actually relatively emerging within the academic environment. It has always been housed under hospitality. However, now it's really starting to find its own bearing, and that's because so many different organizations use events or touching events in some sort of way. So it falls under tourism and hospitality. However, it is its own unique specialization in our program, something that makes us unique. And so we looked at all of the other programs we could find that have event specializations, and we gathered all their different curriculum requirements relating to events, and we mapped them out into a document, and we compared and contrasted those to come up with some suggestions of potential classes that we could offer. Then once we did that as faculty, we went to creating an events professional focus group. So this was only current event professionals who are working in the industry. We presented them with the data and said, what do you guys think? We had a long conversation. It was really great. We had a lot of dialogue back and forth, and we came up with the event specialization curriculum that is going to be proposed to you today. Everything has been approved except for this one course so far, Event Risk Management. Ironically, in this focus group we had, the one thing that was unanimous over everything else was this course, Event Risk Management, and that actually held true as well when we went to the advisory board. So after we finished with our focus group, we've gathered the data, we really put the curriculum together. We then presented that information to the advisory board. We had a long conversation again about what those classes would look like, what it meant, how it was impactful for the industry, and then we moved forward with the proposal through the university. So just to give an idea of the kinds of people who are in events focus group, I have a list of those people here which you can review in the PowerPoint, as well as a list of the members of our advisory board. And so this was the advisory board at the time. It's slightly changed now, as from year to year we do try to bring in some different perspectives to make sure we're touching all the different aspects of the industry because we are so varied. What we also did in titling the class is we looked at these other events curriculums from these other institutions and said, well, what are they calling their course that is based around this concept of risk management? And so you can see some of those titles here. You'll see that they all include this risk management component, from George Washington all the way down to University of Surrey over in the UK, NYU, and other programs that have event specializations. Some of these are in business programs, some of these are not, and it really just depends. Like UCF has its own college for hospitality. It's very, very large program there at UCF. So when I put this class together, I realized that the program for risk management and insurance might feel that they had ownership of this idea of risk management. And so I reached out and I let them know what my proposal was. I shared it with them and I said, I'm welcome and open to a dialogue. I had hoped to meet in person. We weren't able to do that, but I was given the option of, well, why don't we have the students take our class instead? And the course they proposed was Principles of Risk Management and Insurance. As I was trying to be as open as possible, I did say, well, could you share more information about this course with me? And this is the information was shared. And from my perspective, these courses are completely different and really don't have any overlap other than the fact that they both talk about risk management as a concept, but in very different industries and very different fields. So I'm going to compare the event risk management class that we're proposing in tourism and hospitality management to the principles of risk management and insurance, which is in the economics and finance department. So the first thing I wanted to compare is descriptions, and I've highlighted the places where in our description we talk about events specifically and where in the finance class they specifically talk about insurance. This goes all the way to say that one of the proponents of one of the descriptions of this class is that they're even going to be talking about professions within the industry of insurance. So it's very unique and specified to their industry, insurance, whereas ours is very unique and specified to the events industry. So you can take a moment or two and read those different definitions or descriptions for THM 4160 versus Finance 3050. This then carries over, which would make sense, into the course objectives. Our course objectives, every single one of our objectives very specifically focuses on events, where the objectives for finance includes talking about insurance as a tool for risk management, because risk management is a large concept, and this specifically is talking about insurance as a mitigation tool for that risk, where in the events industry, we're looking at a broader scope. We're looking at it from the industry perspective rather than as an individual tool that you would use within the risk management field. Course topics, comparing and contrasting those. You'll see each of those for event risk management has to do with events. When you start looking into risk management for finance and insurance, you'll notice that insurance is in just about every single one of their units. And we even in the second half of the semester start getting into auto insurance, home insurance, life insurance, and health insurance, all of which are not relevant and important to events or planning, managing, operating events, event analysis, anything to do with events. They're very uniquely different. So that even further shows that there's really not an overlap between these two courses. Suggested texts. We have suggested texts for our industry that are specific to risk management and events versus the insurance course, which is a text specific to risk management and insurance. And then some careers, because careers was mentioned in the course description for insurance, you can see their careers are much different than the careers that we have in events. For insurance, we're looking at things like claims adjuster or service representative versus a venue manager or an exhibition organizer. And I gathered these career options directly from the insurance website for the business college. So that is directly the kinds of careers that they are gearing to or focusing on. And then I want to talk a little bit about the title. The other suggestion was, well, why don't you change the title? And the reason why we can't really do that is because risk management is what the concept of what we're doing is. So to change the title because of a possessiveness really does a disservice to our students, because it doesn't make it clear to those who they might be employed by or to even other departments in the university of the content of the class that we are looking at. So our content is specifically risk management for the event industry or event risk management. And so I wanted to give a brief overview of what risk is and what risk management is and how it is pervasive in all industries, not just insurance or events. It actually would be much broader than that, and probably many departments could offer a class in risk management. So essentially, a risk is knowing that a possible outcome might occur that has negative consequences. It doesn't mean that the actual problem exists, only that it has the potential to exist. And by that potential to exist, we should address it and figure out whether or not we need to mitigate it, prevent it, or maybe even change courses altogether. And these risks can be both external and internal. So I have a model here based on the Krumjak from 2010 that talks about the fact that risks are both external and internal. It looks at 4 different dimensions of risk, from finance, strategic, hazard, and operational, and just an overflow of what those risks are. So the reason why I'm showing you this is I just wanted to give you an overview of, if you look at the basic model of risk, or one of many basic models of risk, you'll notice nowhere in there is it specific to an industry. It's an overarching concept. It is something that every industry should consider for their own organizational needs based on what's going on within their own working environment. And then what exactly is risk management? It's a way to identify potential risk and then how to prevent them or hopefully mitigate them from happening. There's a step or an iterative process of dealing with those risks, and they do change based on the kind of industry you're in. So what risk management would look like for nursing or for pilots would be very vastly different than what we look for in risk management and events, and all of those are very different than what would happen with insurance. And so one of the things I also wanted to show is that risk management is a field. It's not something that is isolated or controlled or owned. It's like the concept of leadership. Leadership is something that is pervasive in anything. It is not owned by one individual organization or college or department. And so I just did a basic and very fast Google Scholar search for the term risk management, and you'll see there were nearly 5 million results within 0.07 seconds, and they span a number of different industries. Not all 5 million of those results is about insurance, is about events, or is about other entities, because risk management is a part of all industries, is part of what we all do. So I really want to appreciate your time. I appreciate that you guys got all the way through the presentation, I hope you will consider our proposal for event risk management, which we got confirmed by the focus group we had, the advisory board, based on other curriculums, and that this is very crucial for our students, as some of these soft skills that we talked about are outcomes that we're hoping for from our students, which we developed with our advisory board, include things like critical thinking, strategic planning, and processing, all of an analysis, which is all included in this event risk management class, which is focused on the events industry. Thank you so much for your time.